for a brand new series that's starting this year. It's called Scrapbooking from the Heart. And we're basically going to be just taking some time to have a little bit of self reflection and maybe open up a little bit more in our journaling than we might normally do. There's going to be a prompt every month that hopefully can kind of give you a jumping off point to think about how you might elaborate in your journaling about that prompt. You could find a picture that suits the prompt and then go from there, or you could even just scrapbook whatever picture it is coming next kind of thing and find a way to apply the prompt to that picture. So however you want to do it, it's just a really nice way to encourage you to take a little bit of time, a little bit of self-reflection, and especially for people like me who aren't big journalers, I think that this is a really good opportunity to start putting a few little layouts into my albums that have some of my own personal thoughts in them. I think that that's something that my kids might really enjoy reading back on a little bit later, or even, for myself, just going and looking back on is some of those deeper thoughts that I don't always add in my layouts because I'm not a huge journaler. So I'm really, really excited for this challenge, and it's going to be a fantastic series. So I hope you guys want to play along. The perfect prompt for the very beginning of the year, this month's prompt is optimism. So how you want to interpret that is totally up to you. You could talk about how you are optimistic. Maybe you want to talk about something very specific that you're optimistic about. Maybe you want to talk about just what optimism means to you, or a story that relates to it. Whatever works for you, you are just going to kind of use that as your jumping off point to put down some of those extra personal thoughts and really scrapbook from the heart. So I am using up my Snow and Cocoa collection. I keep wanting to reverse it and say Cocoa and Snow. I'm not sure why. But the Snow and Cocoa collection from Crate Paper, I've been using this all month. It's part of my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit, and I used it in the She's Crafty mini paper pad class that's happening. I've just really put a massive dent into this collection. And so it kind of works out well for me because when I was thinking about the prompt and looking outside at the snow that is freshly fallen outside here now, it really kind of drove home to me that one time that I always feel optimistic is in a snowfall. I don't know why. I mean, I guess that was the point, is that I sat down and really thought about why it makes me so optimistic. But it just all kind of tied in really nicely. So I went into my stash and I found these pictures. They are from 2014, and the kids had just been playing outside in our first snowfall of the season. It was actually in September. But the kids had all been playing outside, and I brought them all back in and got them undressed and got their stuff all, propped up against heaters and the vents to dry out, and they had hot chocolate. And I went back outside just to clean up the sidewalk where we had been playing, and it started to snow again. And there's just something about that falling snow that just makes me incredibly happy and optimistic. And it definitely gives me a bit of a nostalgia to my childhood, and maybe that's part of it, because for me, I think optimism is synonymous with hope, and it's synonymous with that idea of looking to the bright side, or looking to the future, that something good will happen in the future. I definitely think there are people that are always kind of optimistic, and in their present setting, they have just a genuine kind of optimism about everything they do. But I think that there's a lot of people who have a more general optimistic outlook, but can also have really bad days, and just, I think they can have periods in their life, or moments in time, where they are not as hopeful, or they are not, as positive. And I don't think that that suddenly makes them not an optimistic person. I think for me, the key is that no matter what's happening to you right now in this moment, your general outlook is that things will get better. There is something to look forward to. There is something to be excited about or be inspired by, or whatever that might be. And so definitely snow is kind of one of those things. So my journaling for this layout is really going to talk about the idea of how when you wake up in the morning, if you've ever experienced this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But when you wake up in the morning and see this freshly fallen snow, there's something so clean and so pure about it, and there's this feeling of potential. Whether that potential is, you personally can go outside and build a snowman or make snow angels or whatever it might be, or this, potential that you're going to be able to go take your kids tobogganing, or have them play outside in the snow. There's just this kind of big blank canvas that Mother Nature has set for you, and it just is full of potential. And yes, some of that potential could be less desirable things, like having to shovel or getting stuck in the snow with the car and not being able to get to work, or roads that aren't very great that you have to drive on. There is all of that stuff, but I think definitely optimism is looking past those things to things that make you happy and that give you hope and that really kind of drive you forward and push you forward. So that's what my layout and my journaling is all about. And I think that the Snow and Cocoa collection actually works really well for this concept of optimism and scrapping optimism. It's very pretty, and it's light, and it's airy, and it has these sort of hand-drawn feelings that keep it really whimsical, and the colors are really bright and, just a little bit different. So it's not really a classic Christmas collection, but it's a little bit fun. It's very pretty, and you can have it work for a more serious layout, or you can really just have a lot of fun and kind of pull it into its more whimsical elements and do something like I'm doing here. So I think that that's kind of the key to optimism, is being able to not always be positive, if that makes sense. You can acknowledge that you're having a rough time, that you are struggling, that today was a really crappy day, or that you're in a bad mood, or that you don't like something. You can have all of those feelings and still be optimistic. I think that maintaining your optimism is being able to say, today really sucked, but the problems of today don't have to ruin tomorrow, or next week, or whatever. You don't need to hang on to them. And I think the more that you allow yourself to have a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism, the more you are able to start seeing the things in your life that keep giving you that hope. And so, keeping a gratitude journal, for example, or writing down three good things that happened to you that day, or whatever it might be, it kind of helps to put things into perspective. And that is where optimism comes from, is that perspective that when times get tough, they won't last, that there is always something to look forward to, something to work towards, something that will improve, something, that can be also positive in your life. So I basically just wrote all of that as my journaling on a tag and popped it into a pocket on the back of the layout. And then you saw me kind of just pull everything together, a couple strips of the 12 by 12 papers that I had, and some stickers from the sticker sheet, and some chipboard, and lots of sequins to add that kind of fun sparkle. There's some little labels in there too. And then I pulled out my stamps to do some stamping on my mixed media background. And that is it for this layout. Please check out everybody else who's playing along as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.